Hello and welcome to the GCN Tech Show with me, Connor.
And me, Ollie. And this week we've got loads of stuff, including a new watch from Wahoo. We've got new helmets from Giro, an underwater bike, a lightweight bike, the Bike Vault, your upgrades, and
our main talking point this week, ExPro bikes for sale.
Bargains.
This week we are talking about ExPro bikes being for sale because Carabao have announced they're selling some of their 2020 team bikes. Well, some of them anyway.
Yeah, the Spanish pro team is selling off, pro spec race bikes for a bargain price. These bikes are kitted out with full Dura Ace Di2 group sets on them. They've got Mike Super Type 2020 carbon tubular wheels with Vittoria Corsa tyres, FSA finishing kit, Repent saddles, and all built on to these stunning team-coloured green De Roses.
Yeah, beautiful paint design actually.
Yeah,
and these bikes retail for €9,100 if you buy them brand new. But in this sale, the price is getting slashed by 61%. So you can pick one up for £3,500 or $3,750 with the Vision Metron 60 handlebars.
Bargain. They've also been selling some slightly lower spec Ultegra models at a lower price as well. These are reportedly the team's training bikes as well.
And I do love the paint job, the green paint job. I mean, going back to that, very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I mean, talking more generally, not just about the Cadrual bikes, but ExPro bikes, they can be an absolute bargain. But relative to the total number of bikes for sale in the world, there's not many of them. So, how best can you find them? How can you find where and when they're going on sale?
Yeah, I think you need to be quick off the mark. One of the best things you can do is to follow kind of outlets like ourselves and media outlets who are keeping track of this. You can stay posted on what's coming up. You could follow the team's newsletter, get right in there when the bikes go on sale, or you could look for mechanics or teams on social media, see what announcements that they're putting up out on there.
Yeah, good shout. So here with Cadrual, we have an example of a team selling on its old bikes directly to the public. And we've seen other teams do this as well. I think EF Pro Cycling springs to my mind in their various guises over the years. I've seen them do it a number of times. But sometimes the bike manufacturer or the bike sponsor of the team actually requests the bikes back and then sells them on. So to find out a bit more about this and how you can get hold of those bikes, we reached out to Canyon and Orbea.
Yeah, and firstly, Canyon said that there is a spot on their website where they have a factory outlet store where generally all these kind of ex-demo bikes or ex-pro bikes, the sort of thing that's given out to kind of media or GCN presenters, gets put up for sale.
As well as, the ex-pros. And we asked them, when do they go on sale in the factory outlet store so you can find them? And they said, well, there isn't a fixed time and it can happen at any time because it is largely dependent on when new models appear. But ideally, it tends to happen at the end of a season in the case of pro bikes. So around sort of October, November now, after the last season's races, and then they will get those bikes back off the teams.
Yeah, and Canyon also said that all these bikes are checked over by their mechanics and the quality control department before they're put up for sale. But generally, they are available to buy in the first quarter of the new year.
Yeah, and that's a good point, actually. They were really keen to stress that in terms of like any bikes going out in the factory outlet store are comprehensively checked and serviced, and that they won't put something on sale if it has been compromised. But what about Orbea? We reached out to them because they sponsor a lot of pro teams and high-profile athletes as well. And they said that ultimately it depends on the specific contract they have with a team as to whether that team keeps the bikes at the end of the season or returns them back to Orbea. But the process usually involves them giving first refusal to members of that team, so like the staff, the mechanics and stuff, if they want to buy the bikes at a heavily discounted rate. If they don't, then they get sent back to Orbea, thoroughly checked once again, and then offered out to the Orbea dealer network. So as Orbea sells through bike shops as well, it goes to the bike shops.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because all these bikes are really checked over by the Orbea staff at their HQ in Spain, and they're basically refurbished bikes which are available to buy.
These bikes, they certainly seem like enticing propositions. But things can seem too good to be true sometimes. And I think in the name of balance, it's worth that we discuss the potential pitfalls and downsides of buying such a bike.
Yeah, I mean, you could drop onto a deal, again, like a spare bike or a bike that's had very little use.
Yeah, like a traditionalist French team selling off one of its domestics TT bikes. It's been ridden like once.
Yeah, but once by every single rider on that T-Bolly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these bikes, they do get cleaned a lot. They get looked after by a pro mechanic. These bikes are the babies of those team mechanics. So they're in good nick, but they are ridden by pro cyclists who do ride a lot more miles and put those bikes through quite a lot more abuse than the general public who think, they're riding 25 to 30 hours every week for the whole year. Stacks up.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. And so I'm keen to know, as an ex-World Tour rider, would you buy one of your old bikes that you'd raced on for it like a year?
Put me on the spot now, I don't know. It's kind of like lucky dip, I think, really, because, you could pick up my training bike, which I had for, the training bike would kind of get recycled a bit and you'd use it in multiple seasons. You kind of use it from year to year sometimes. But you could get a race bike. So for instance, at the end of the 2019 season, I broke my race bike, cracked the frame, it had to be replaced. So I got a new one kind of mid-September. I think I did like a week or 2 weeks of racing on it. Really rode it kind of 2 or 3 times, because you only use your race bike in a race and you wouldn't use it training, go back on the training bike. So that's basically a brand new bike that you pick up at a bargain basement price.
So your race bike was kept at the service course then, I'm guessing, and that was brought by the team to the races, and it was always like kept immaculate by the team, and that would be what you'd wheel. And then the bike that you would ride and train on, you kept that at home and abused it.
Yeah, so your race bike, basically, yeah. So your race bike, you'd only use it races, that's like golden rule. You might use it in a kind of a cafe ride in between each race, but that would be like, you wouldn't be allowed to use that on a longer training ride. You might have to use your spare race bike. But the training bike, that's something you'd always keep at home. You wouldn't really travel with it, unless you're doing a race kind of really far away, sort of, in Dubai or Australia, where you'd have to travel with your own bike. But yeah, those training bikes do get a bit of use.
So on the whole, you're saying it's a lucky dip?
Yeah, unless you can find out a bit of kind of knowledge about what that bike's been used for.
I guess that's great advice. Ask questions. Find out a bit more about the history of the bike. They'll know it because they are the owners of it. The team owned it.
And they should be honest with you about what it's been used for. If it's a classics bike or it's been a little it's a climber bike for one of the smaller climbers, is a bit more lightweight and wouldn't put as much stress through the frame. And a bit different. Than
buying Connor Dunn's bike.
Which I brutalised down a stretch of
No one
cobbles.
buy Connor Dunn's training bike.
I did wash it, I promise.
Yeah, sure you did. I mean, personally, I've never bought a used X-Team bike, but a couple of people I know have. One of my mates, he bought a Cannondale Super 6 high mod off a now defunct Continental team. It had SRAM red 10-speed mechanical on it, and it was an amazing bike, like amazing spec. Again, got it like total bargain price, and it was great and it worked really well. No issues with it at all. Apart from one issue, which was that the steerer tube had been sort of fully cut in a slammed position, and it had he needed kind of 2 centimeters of spacers in there. So he did often moan that his back was hurting on long rides. but it was a bargain, and he looked pro. So there you go.
Bad back look pro.
Yeah.
But that's a good point to raise, actually, because you do want to kind of ask some questions about the bike. You want to make sure it's the right size, and if you can, use tools like ID Match to really get that knowledge about the size bike that you need for yourself, because everyone's different.
Yeah, that is a great bit of tech, ID Match, and that's something worth pointing out, especially as in most cases, if you are buying one of these bikes, chances are you're not going to be able to go and sit on it. Because it's, you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to go and see it firsthand, so.
Yeah, and as you say, a lot of them are they've had the steerers cut, they've had that position adapted for that specific pro rider, so bear that in mind as well. But anyway, let's hear your thoughts on the matter and get a poll going in the GCN app. Would you buy an ExPro bike? Yes or no? Let us know.
I wouldn't buy yours.
Well, you wouldn't fit it for one, would you?
First up in Hot Tech this week is this, which also happens to win the award for the best thing I've seen this week. This is absolutely brilliant. Check this out.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's called the Sea Bike, and it's basically a propeller which you cycle as you swim, moving you forward with the power of your pedals in the water. Have you not seen this before, Ollie?
I know, I've not seen this before either. It looks incredible. I mean, it looks like you can swim even faster than you could ordinarily using this thing. All I know is top of my Christmas list. I want one, and I think when I get one, we should have a race with GTN with it.
Oh, that is a good idea. Definitely doing this. I've seen an electrical version of this, but I've never seen one which is human powered. So, right,
you're into your water sports.
Yeah, I'm into my water sports as well. So, don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, right. Well, speaking of GTN, here's something else that they'll love.
Wahoo has just launched a new multi-sport watch, the Wahoo Rival.
Yes, our mates over at GTN, God, they're raving about this. But it does have some really nifty tech inside of it. So if you're doing a multi-sport event where your event starts with, say, I don't know, a swim or a run before jumping on the bike, it manages the transitions really well. So you can start your activity on the watch, and then as soon as you get on the bike, it syncs that existing activity onto your Wahoo head unit, which I think is an incredibly useful feature. And anyone that's done a multi-sport event in the past will understand that. And then it sort of syncs it, into the watch, so that when you do the next leg, after the bike, it's sort of all there with all the bike data on it and stuff.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? A great way of kind of keeping all your data organised, having different strands everywhere. And I think it's brilliant for someone who's kind of leading an active lifestyle, who wants to record multiple activities and is interested in sports that aren't just cycling related.
Yeah, but yeah, it wants a device that's going to capture those different things. And it's got 24-hour battery life. And it has Bluetooth and Plus and sort of all the usual hardware you'd expect from this kind of device. And like other Wahoo computers, rather than overcomplicate the device with loads of buttons and complicated menus in the sort of watch or computer itself, what they do is use your smartphone and an app to program the screens and the menus in the device, and then it just beams it over into the device to your personal preference. It's really simple and easy to use.
Yeah, and for weight weenies, it's only 56 grams.
Next up, Giro has launched a brand new road helmet, the Helios Spherical. And as our helmet provider, and to help celebrate this, we're actually doing a giveaway of the helmets. So you can check that out in the unboxing video we've previously recorded. And we've got custom GCN ones as well, which is very exciting.
I'm really excited about this one, actually, yeah. And if you want more details on the helmet, you can check out Ollie's unboxing video. But the short headlines are that it's more aerodynamic, it's more compact in shape, and there's a massive emphasis on safety. So there's a kind of ball and socket design, which is kind of like an integrated MIPS.
Yeah, well, when they say it's more compact in shape and a bit more aerodynamic, that's in contrast to the existing Giro Aether, which you may have seen me wearing on several videos in the last few months.
Pirelli has launched a new tyre, the Pirelli Cycle EWT, which is made from a compound which grips reliably in freezing conditions due to its lower warm-up time. Even a skith of snow is said to be within the grip capabilities of this tyre.
Yeah, this is said to be thanks to a special rubber compound which performs better at lower temperatures, but also a special new tread pattern as well built into the tyres. And apparently Pirelli has used its extensive sort of experience in motorsport tyres to apply it here and develop the tyre.
Yeah, and it's also going to be good for the environment and help save the polar bears, because these tyres are made from reused and regenerated car tyres, which goes straight back into that polymer matrix which you find in these bike tyres.
Not just the polar bears, Connor. Pirelli are also going to be saving the orangutans too, because these tyres feature natural rubber as well as the recycled rubber crumb from the car tyres, but they're being very careful at maximising the natural rubber that goes into these tyres, and they're using it from renewable sources.
Next up, we have a rather exciting wet weather tech breakthrough for you, which we think is going to be pretty groundbreaking actually. Rafa have launched the new Pro Team lightweight Gore-Tex printed jacket. Catchy name, isn't it, Ollie?
Oh, it's got all the words in that one. Well, it's made from the Gore Shake Dry fabric, which is absolutely brilliant. It's class leading in terms of waterproofing. It's long-term sort of waterproofing. It lasts. It's breathable. It's incredibly packable, incredibly lightweight. It's what a number of things are made from, including our Castelli Hydro jackets, and it's just absolutely mint.
But one of the limitations of Gore-Tex is that because it's black, you can't really colour it because it's so hard, it's hydrophobic, and it makes it so hard to get dye and graphics to print onto the fabric.
Yeah, and just, well, stay stuck to it. But it looks like Rafa and Gore may have cracked it, which is great news for, you know, people who want a sort of a wet weather, bad weather garment that isn't just that usual kind of dark grey or black. You know, someone who wants something in a brighter colour, which is makes total sense, doesn't it? And the way they reckon they've managed to do this is, first they were able to develop the fabric in white rather than the normal dark grey, and then they've somehow very cleverly developed a process by which they can actually dye, sublimate, and print onto that white Gore-shaped dry fabric.
God, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like
proper cool.
Really big breakthrough, I think. Although if you do want one, these are only available to Pro Team riders and the Rafa Club members. Although I think we do think that this tech is going to trickle down into other garments.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to become more widespread pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Finally, in hot tech this week, we've got the new BH Ultra Evo disc, a lightweight bike that's lighter than the last one and more integrated.
Yeah, it's said to be 40 grams lighter than its predecessor, but comes with an integrated seat post clamp, and also the cables are completely hidden.
Yeah, things that we've seen before, but my favourite bit of integration on there is these, well, nifty through axles. Check these out, seriously cool. So the lever on the through axle is actually retractable, which means that when it's, you know, retracted, you've got a nice neat front end, and it's a bit more aero and just looks nice and clean. But you don't need to worry about having an Allen key to hand to undo it, because the lever just pops out the side. I think that's really cool.
The frame is said to be just 750 grams and features high-mod Toray T1100G carbon fibre, and also that pitch fibre reinforced construction that we saw in its predecessor. It also features a BB386 bottom bracket.
Yeah, and clearance for 30mm tyres.
Brilliant.
Cool bike. More hot tech next week.
Right, it's that time of the week. It's time for Screw Riding Upgrades by Upgrades, where you guys submit your upgrades to your bike or your equipment on the GCN app for the chance to win the ultimate prize here at GCN.
Yeah.
A cycling
bottle. GCN Elite water bottle. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a bottle.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we see who's going to win the bottle?
Yeah, well, first, I just want to make a quick announcement to the viewers, okay? Now, you can submit your upgrades using the app, but we get a lot of upgrades from you guys, which is great. But if you want the best chance of yours being featured in the show, then submit as much information as possible. And we like to see pictures of like before, during, and after as well. Like, tell the story. Don't just like send us a picture of here's my bike and it's got like a new bottle cage on it for my new bottle. Yeah, you get the idea. Anyway, last week's we had. Well, I didn't. They had a go at me on the show last week because I didn't realise. It was a bit like when you know in The Simpsons when Bart prank calls Moe and he doesn't get what the joke is. It was a bit like that. So I can now tell from the comments from last week that it was, oh hell no, his mountain bike versus it was going to a gravel bike versus Gweed's Trek, and the winner with 68% of the vote was, oh hell no, and his gravel bike conversion. So well done, and get in contact with Facebook. We'll get your bottle out to you. Sorry, it wasn't a. It's a bottle.
Oh hell no.
That's probably what he just said.
Yeah.
Anyway, who we got this week?
This week's upgrades. Okay, so first up we have Spike Ev 1. Now, wasn't sure if a carbon bike would ever join the quiver, which started in 1985, until I stumbled on this well-maintained 2016 entry Kyoto. Started a deep clean when upgrade fever struck hard. Cockpit now is full Super Zero and Prologo. Alloy aero bars from last year. Got them custom drilled to route the cables. That is good, yeah. New cables, housing, barrel adjusters, hoods, aero wheels on next, Pirellis, cassette. So might as well move up to Tegra.
I'll tell you what though, gold chain straight off the bat. That's what caught my eye.
He's definitely put that in for you, Ollie, hasn't he?
Yeah. But he's done a great job with it. I'm particularly impressed with the cockpit. That cable routing that he's done himself. Also, I'm intrigued as to where these photos have been taken. It looks like it's like an abandoned nuclear power plant console when you look at like the picture of the Pro Logo saddle.
Yeah, I've just noticed
what is that.
Yeah, I was drawn to the saddle.
It's like there's like loads of big, massive, like red and green buttons. Red bad, green good.
Get in touch with us about where that is.
Where on earth is that?
It's very edgy.
Maybe it's his house. I'm also a big fan of the cables, like not just the cable routing he's done, but like those cables look really smart, and I like the way that the red ones match the red accents on the frame. I think he's done a really great job with that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, solid upgrade, I think.
And the little red jockey wheels he's snuck in there as well.
I was going to say, there's a lot of red theme here, and it was catching my eye. I couldn't figure out whether there's also, I think there's a red stem cap there.
Yeah, just the bolt going through.
It's the bolt, yeah. It's all the small details add up.
Oh, look, I've just spotted that little red valve cap.
Yeah, see, I told you.
That's cool, isn't it?
Lots of red coming out from everywhere.
Well, it's not going to be plain sailing though. He's up against Shay. So check this out. I'm a big fan of this. Shay bought a battered, as he describes it, 2017 Trek Speed concept frame, which is a seriously expensive frame set, but he got it for €250. That is an absolute bargain. But everything was missing on it. So like all the handlebars and it was just the frame, but still a bargain. But because all the paint on it was chipped, what he's done is ordered his own decals or decals off eBay, and he's got a load of sort of parts to build it up as a complete bike. But the most amazing thing is that he completely stripped it down with the paintwork and has done an amazing respray job on it and painted it up to look like one of the sort of current Trek Speed concept team bikes. Looks like Ryan Mullen's bike, doesn't it? It's just,
looks brand new now, doesn't it?
And I like the way he's done like the updated Trek livery on there with the giant Trek logo going up into the head tube.
I like that logo.
I do.
Yeah.
And I loved like the red and white paint job. Red and white is just like, it's what I've gone for on my Orbea. I just think red and white, you can't go wrong with red and white. It just looks good, doesn't it? It was GCN colours. Looks good.
I didn't go for red and white on my Orbea.
You definitely didn't. You went for like unicorn vomit.
Yeah, it'll work out, Ollie, it'll work out. You'll see.
Well, I'm really impressed with this, and I think the finished bike that you've got there looks fantastic. Yeah. It does look, and it's like you just properly upcycled that. It's great to see. That's
a brilliant upgrade. But get voting on the GCN app and pick your winner. Yeah. They will get that GCN bottle, so a lot at stake here.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the bike vaults, my favourite part of the show. Yeah. Oh, brilliant, isn't it? Where you guys submit your uploads to the GCN app and you have them kind of rated by myself and Ollie, whether they're nice or a super nice. If they're a super nice, of course, you get a bit of a ring of the bell.
It's because his arm's so long, it's like out of shot.
I was told they had to redesign these studios just for my arms.
Yeah.
And I did actually request a smaller chair. You can't see it behind the table, but I'm actually sitting close to the floor.
Well, he's not actually sat on a chair. He's just sat down with his legs crossed on the floor.
Anyway, come on, let's go on to this bike vault. Stop talking about my legs, shall we?
Yeah, also, thanks to everyone who pointed out in last week's bike vault that the aeroplane that I was unable to identify was a fairy gannet with a contra-rotating propeller. I mean, I've learned something, and thanks. Oh.
I didn't know birds had propellers.
Anyway, first up we've got this from Peel and Peel, who says that this is his commuter winter bike, owned it from 2011. It's done loads and loads of miles, and it's a Genesis Equilibrium. Right? What do you make of that, Connor?
Oh, it's brilliant.
I think it's great.
I don't go into this often, because normally I like to kind of, ease myself into it. I like to say what I like about the bike, but it's everything. It's just everything for me. I mean,
I love it.
I'd buy that. Super nice.
Yeah. That is super nice. Love the stem as well. How that stem's really doing it for me. But it's just utility. I love it.
Yeah.
Right, next. Callie Phillips with his bike ready for winter. It's a Cannondale Synapse, or Synapse, if you're from that part of the world.
That's brilliant.
Again, I'm championing the guards. It's winter. Yeah. That's a cracking winter bike.
And I tell you what, Ollie, they're not just guards, but they've got mud flaps on as well, because so they're thinking about the people behind them. You know, that's for a group riding mud guard. So
that is great. And it's ticking all the boxes. I also love, even though it's a winter bike, it's nice and clean for the photo. Yeah. You eat your dinner off that cassette and chain. Yeah. Fantastic. Ring that bell, Connor.
Yeah, go on.
Paul
Roof. We're on a roll.
Paul Roof has submitted a 2011 Cervelo R5 CA.
Oh, it's a beautiful bike. I mean, where to start?
Oh, do you know what? One of my favourite all-time bikes, I think, of all time. If I was opening like a bike, if I could only have like, I don't know. I just think, but I'd love to own one. I don't know how to say that. I forgot the power of speech for a second.
Ollie's getting very excited. I'm glad the screen is between us at the moment.
I think the Cervelo RCA is a fantastic bit of engineering, and I am a sucker for them. I also love the Mavic Ultimate Comet tubulars on there as well.
I mean, that bike just looks like it's going to fly uphill, doesn't it?
It looks like it weighs about 3 grams.
It looks like it needs to be held back at the bottom of the climb, like a kind of pinball.
Like he's attached lead weights to it so it doesn't float away.
I'm going to be a bit bitter here though, Ollie.
All right.
I'm not going to give it a super nice.
Yeah?
Because, for the simple reason that it's taken in front of a swimming pool in, kind of a tropical climate.
Also, I think like those railings is not a good backdrop for such an incredible bike. I think, I like he's got the lightweight cables on there as well. They're really lightweight cables. Yeah,
Ollie, just drawing your attention, Ollie, to the valve on the rear wheel.
Oh, yeah. What is that ugly bit of tape?
And
it's like encroaching onto the little Mavic SSC logo as well. No.
Sorry. Nice try, but it's a nice.
Ooh, look at this.
Okay.
Ooh, wow. That is very nice. Andre Tiffany submitted a Rally Webster, which Andre Tiffany tells us is a marketing bike, and it was like a test bike, and it was never actually mass produced. I tell you what, that looks blooming fantastic, doesn't it? It
does. I mean, I'm going to be picky again because we gave 2 super nices earlier in the show just on kind of their mudguard. I think that was a tipping point, do you think?
No. I think if a bike is utility.
Yeah, no, sorry. It wasn't just that. I was just, dreaming about mudguards because I'm in the process of getting my own ones at the moment.
You've never had them before. Like,
I did. Every winter I used to buy mudguards for my trailing bike. Yeah. I am of the mudguard, family. I think they're a good idea. But anyway, back on track. Seattle's looking nice, isn't it?
Seattle is looking great.
Yeah, really nice. One thing I like about this bike is the saddle. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love a kind of leather old school saddle.
I think that is a cracking looking bike. It's all aligned properly. Well, the rear tyre could be aligned a bit better, but
the valves, Ollie.
Yes.
I mean, if we're talking about alignment,
I think I can let the valve. I mean, the valves is something that I often do let slide.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh.
I think if everything else is there, I'm willing to let the valve slide. I think that is a fantastic bike, and I think if Rally had actually put that into production, that would have done blooming well. They must have had a good reason why they didn't, but I think that's a really great looking, kind of all-purpose.
What are we doing then? What are we doing? It's nicer, is it tipping into a?
I think for the very fact that they got the Space Needle right in there, in the far left top corner, it's a super nice.
I see. Yeah, I didn't spot that. Yeah, go on then.
All right.
Super nice. Well done, Andre.
So it's been a strong week this week.
Has it?
And so we're now down to this, which is Moss Paul.
Maybe they're twins.
Yeah. This is Cannondale System 6. Connor.
I mean, is that it's got the Palace like?
I think he's just got a Palace sticker.
Has he?
And stuck it on his bike. Yeah.
Unless it was like a secret bike that they went to the drawing board with when they were designing the kit. In which case it's I'm not sure it is. But
do you know what else is intriguing about this bike? Is the Vision wheels, because I was under the impression that you could only get Vision wheels with white Vision logos on if you were a pro.
So this bike is...
Well, I don't know.
Throwing up some questions.
Yeah.
Paul, yeah.
It's very clean tyres on there, but I mean, there's a lot of issues here. Look, come on, non-drive side. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, that's just, we've got a valve cap on the front wheel, a black valve, and then a silver valve with no cap on the rear wheel. We're on non-drive side, the pedals are all over the place. We've got some sort of scruffy looking accessories on there. I'm not sure how I feel about the Palace sticker. I
mean, it's a shame really, because it has so much going for it.
Yeah,
Victoria
cracking
courses.
bike, terribly presented. Nice.
So, yeah, just a nice, unfortunately. Right, that's all we have time for on the GCN Tech Show this week. It's been a pleasure to be on the show with Ollie.
Yeah.
And yeah,
hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to support the channel and what we do, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that stuff. And Christmas is fast approaching, so if you're after some Christmas gift ideas for the cyclists that you love in your life, then why not check out the GCN shop? We've got loads of amazing stuff there, including, but not limited to, amazing sweatshirts like this. This grey one's actually my favourite one.
This one was my favourite until brother-in-law Nigel spilled paint on it. So unless you're kind of looking for a brother-in-law for Christmas, you could, pick Nigel and take him from my hands.